Whispers, Ilse.
Hi guys, it's Ilse here, and today I'm going to do a video for people who have a job interview or an audition, for example. And I've noticed myself over the years that it can be pretty stressful to have a job interview, so I made a short routine with some tips and things that you might forget before you have a job interview. So I have the computer right next to me so that I can't forget anything that I wanted to tell you today. So you're going to have a job interview and you're really nervous. So what I want to start with is one day before you have the actual interview. It's also possible, obviously, that you're not nervous, but this video is specifically for people who are nervous, who struggle with job interviews, basically. So one day before you have the interview, the evening before, it's really important that you prepare your interview. So prepare a list of things that you're good at so that you remember yourself, so that you can remind yourself of the things that you're good at and the things that you want to tell the person who's going to do the job interview, because it's important that they can see that you're confident and that you really want to have the job. What I would really suggest is make a job interview test. Online you can find a lot of basic questions that the person who is going to interview for the job is going to answer you. So it's really good to do some research on the internet and look for different kinds of questions, and most of the time they also come with an answer, so you get a general idea of how you can answer certain questions when they're going to ask you those kind of things. And it's also really good to practice those things, so don't be ashamed. Just look at the questions and go through them. Just read them when you're in a calm state of mind, and try to rehearse a little. You can just sit in front of the computer and try to imagine what you would say. And that can really help you to form the sentences in your head so that you're well prepared for the interview. Now, another thing that is also really good, if you're nervous and you want to be well prepared, is try to look up on the internet how you have to go to the building where you're going to do the interview. For example, if you drive with a car, plan the route before you're going there, and have a look on how to get there and the obstacles that you might find. Maybe it's rush hour if you have the appointment, stuff like that. And if you use public transportation, it's a good idea to get a general idea of how your environment is going to look like. So really try to imagine in your head that you're already walking through those streets and taking transit and going to that specific building or office where you're going to have your job interview. And those are the things that I would suggest to do the day before you're actually going to have the job interview itself. The next thing is the night before the interview. I can imagine that you're pretty nervous and that you have the feeling that you maybe have a lack of self-confidence. There are even people out there I know that have anxiety, and that really makes it even more difficult to have the interview the next day. So I noticed myself that before I have a job interview, I always struggle with getting enough sleep, even though they suggest to get at least 7 to 8 hours. So what I was always used to do is I would lie in bed and I would just try to focus on my breathing technique and just tell yourself, okay, so breathe in and breathe out again. And just try to think of that, because that will distract you from other thoughts that you might have. So if you're lying in bed, just try to focus on your breathing and don't get frustrated with yourself that you can't fall asleep, because that will actually make it worse. What I always used to do before I go to sleep, I would always drink some tea. You can find that in most supermarkets. They have like tea that makes you feel relaxed. It's literally called tea to relax with. And I know that there are different brands who sell those kind of teas, and it's a natural There are natural products in there, so I always try to avoid medicine and pills and stuff like that. So I just take some relaxing tea. And for those of you out there who like to listen to meditation CDs and meditation videos and ASMR videos, I would highly recommend you to listen to something like that the night before you fall asleep. I also noticed that if I can fall asleep, sometimes I just get up again and then I'm going to sit behind my computer and just read through everything that I would like to say, or just check everything to calm my mind down, basically, so that you know for sure that you have everything and that it's okay to fall asleep. And don't forget to set your alarm. That's also really important. I never had it that I forgot to set my alarm. Most of the time I try to set like 3 or 4 alarms even, so that I make sure that I get up on time when I need to be up. So it's really important that if you get enough sleep, that you're physically and mentally rested, basically. That's the reason why it's important to get enough sleep. And make sure that you drink like water and tea, but make sure that you don't drink energy drinks and Coke and stuff like that, because the caffeine can really hype you up, and that's the last thing that you want to have before you fall asleep. So then you have the interview the day itself. It would be ideal if you don't have anything else to do, but if you're at your job, for example, or if you're in school still and you're going to do a job interview, 3 to 4 hours before you're going to have the interview, I would like to suggest the following things. Try to think about what you're going to wear. Normally, if you just wear casual, you feel casual. So if you wear something that you feel really professional in, that will definitely hype up your self-confidence, and it gives a different vibe to it as well. So make sure that before you have the job interview that you dress properly for what you're going to have the job interview for. And it can also really help to do something else with your hair once in a while. Like girls can put their hair, tie their hair up, for example. And if you never use gel or waxing your hair as a guy, you can also do that to give it a little bit extra. It's also really important that your stomach is not going to be stressed out. I'm a person with a really weak stomach, so if I get nervous, I can't eat at all, or I can eat something, but just a little bit. So what I always try to do is eat some soup or eat some bread, something that is not too heavy on your stomach and that basically doesn't have a lot of fat in it, because that can make your stomach upset in situations like that when you're really nervous. So just try to eat balanced and healthy before you're going to have your job interview. 3 to 4 hours before you leave, I would definitely do a document check. Make sure that you have all the important things with you. Check what they asked from you and make sure that you have that with you, like your ID, for example, and all the jobs that you did before you are going to apply for this job. If they want to know some information about that, just make sure that you bring that with you to the job interview and that you have that well prepared before you're going there. Make sure that before you go to a job interview, like I already said with the Coke, that you don't drink caffeine, or make sure that you don't drink any alcohol, because the last thing that you want is that you end up at a job interview and that the person who is interviewing you can smell that you drink something, and that is not a really good first impression, and the first impression is the most important. So make sure that you don't drink any alcohol. I also know that some people are religious, obviously, and it can also really help you to if you believe in God, for example, or something else, that you just pray before you have the job interview and ask for some strength and that everything will go very well. I know that for some people that can really help, and that can really boost your self-confidence. You're prepared for the job interview and you're going to travel to the building or where you're going to have the job interview. If you take the car, make sure that you leave on time. the last thing that you want to do is that you're stuck in traffic jam or something like that, and that you will show up late for your interview. What I would highly recommend is to arrive early at your job interview, like maybe 20 to 30 minutes earlier. That doesn't look weird. Most of the time they have a room where you can wait, and as soon as you arrive at a job interview, you can go to the bathroom, have a sip of water, maybe splash some water in your face if you don't wear any makeup, to refresh yourself a little bit so that you feel energized when you're going to have the job interview. It's just really important that if you're sitting in the waiting room, that you tell yourself to calm down and try to go through the things again that you want to tell or that you want to talk about during the job interview, and that will give you also a little bit more of a calm state of mind before you're going into that room and that you're actually going to do the job interview. So again, if you have the feeling like, oh my god, I'm going to freak out, you can also try to say like, okay, everything is going to be fine, I can do this, and just focus on your breathing again. So just take deep breaths, just breathe in and breathe out again, and that really helps to release the tension. At least that's what I've noticed before I have an actual job interview. Now, if that doesn't calm you down and you really like music, for example, what you can also do is bring your iPod with you or another MP3 player that you have and listen to your favorite music that will make you feel relaxed and comfortable. Not music like party music that will hype you up, but just music that will bring you back down to earth and that can help you focus on the job interview that you're about to have. Now, sometimes I also notice that you can also be really warm before the interview, and obviously the bathroom to cool yourself down a little bit is a really good tip. And I was always used to turn on the water, and if you have cool water and you put it on your wrists, just like that, it will calm your bloodstream down and you will cool off a little bit. And if you have the option to actually open a window somewhere or there is an air conditioning, it's also really nice to just stand in front of that and just let the cool air blow into your face, and that will refresh you and energize you as well. And right before the interview, like 10 minutes before, try to think about happy thoughts. Just sit there and think about all the things that you're good at. Think about things that make you happy, that make you feel relaxed, and overall that just gives you a good feeling. Everything that you think about that gives you a good feeling, continue doing that. Don't start thinking about, oh my god, but what if this, and what if that, and what if that. No, that's not important right now. You can do this. I know that you can do this. So just try to focus on yourself, because they found you interesting enough to actually invite you for a job interview. So don't get stressed out. They want to speak to you. So try to be happy about that and try to think about all the things that you've accomplished already and the things that you're capable of, and that will also boost your self-confidence a lot. So you're almost going to have a job interview, and make sure that you turn off your cell phone as well before you walk in there, because it would look a little bit unprofessional if you don't turn off your phone or something else that makes noise. Doesn't matter what it is, but turn it off before you walk in there. So if you follow all these steps, I think that you are going to have a very good job interview. And a few other things that I would like to say before you're going into this actual job interview. Once you're in that room, you will notice soon enough if there is a relaxing vibe or how you can feel. So just try to sit down in the chair and just have a feeling like, yes, okay, I'm well prepared for this. I can do this. Fire away. And then just start with the questions. And most of the time, the people who will do the job interview also make you feel really relaxed. That's what I've noticed myself with different job interviews, that I was really nervous, and they would even ask me like, are you nervous for the job interview? And then I would always be like, yes, I'm pretty nervous and I didn't have a lot of sleep. And then they would always say like, okay, you don't have to worry about anything. We're just going to have a conversation and just want to have a little bit more of information from you, and everything is going to be all right. So if you don't have that, then if someone doesn't try to comfort you, basically, then try to comfort yourself in your head. Like, okay, everything is going to be okay. And if you have the feeling like, oh, I can't take this, just take a sip of your drink, for example, so that you can calm your mind down a little. And just try to focus on your breathing again. So just repeat in your head, like, okay, breathe in and breathe out. And after a while, you will notice that you will become a lot more calm. These were the tips and tricks that I have for you today. I hope that everyone who's going to have a job offer or a job interview or an interview for an audition is going to have a great audition or a great job interview, and that you're going to get hired for your dream job that you want to go for. And I want to thank you very much for watching, and good luck. You can do it, and I'll see you next time.